Hi everybody, welcome to the energy update for December 2017. I'm Lee, I'm an intuitive, a transformation guide, a channeler, and for the past 13 years I've been working with people on opening to more of who they are. Every month I do this energy update, which is really just a check-in to see where are we at, where are we going next, and what's coming up in the coming weeks and months. And my messages are for those of you who resonate with them. So as with anything, take what resonates and leave the rest. Before we get started with some information about December energies, please join me in just taking a few breaths. We live in a busy world and we all need that moment to just stop and take a breath. So what I always invite you to do is on the inhale, focus on taking in good energy, and on the exhale, focus on letting go of anything that you don't need to hold on to today. So a nice steady inhale to bring yourself to life, and an exhale to let everything go. A nice steady inhale to bring yourself to life, and an exhale to let everything go. And last time, a nice steady inhale to bring yourself to life, and an exhale to let everything go. Okay. Bring yourself to life could be the theme of the December energy update. So a couple of different things were hitting me this morning when I was tuning in on are there any themes that it's right for me to be the messenger of this month for those of you watching. The big thing that came up for this month was heart energy, impactful heart energy. Now this can look like many different things. I have a feeling on the world stage we're going to see some stuff this month that is going to be very impactful on a heart level. And that can go either way. It can be very moving and it can connect us deeply, or it can bring with it a certain heartbreak or grief. The ultimate thing whenever we have heartbreak or grief is that we become more compassionate, we become more educated, we become the change that we want to see, which is a phrase that you will have heard me repeat over the last few months, because that's really the time of life that we're in. So anything that we are seeing that is causing us heartbreak or is causing us distress or is something that we see in the world that we don't like and we don't want to see more of, it actually is activating to those of you watching this video. Yes, it's painful when we see brothers, sisters in pain, in suffering, but these times that we're going through, that wheel is going round on the planet. We're definitely in a time of dissolution and change. And there are different ways that we can look at that depending on our perspective and our emotional resonance. We can go down and spiral downwards into tragedy, into this is terrible, this is the end. Or we can take it for what it is, feel what we need to, and transmute it. You know, if we stay heartbroken about the death of a loved one in our life for a decade or 2 decades, we shut down our life force and we stop moving on. We stop continuing to evolve. If we naturally grieve for a loved one in our life for, you know, as long as it takes, it can take weeks and months in the immediate grief process, and then for some of us, it never goes away. We're always going to miss that person. They're always going to be an imprint in who we've become, but we aren't letting the death of that loved one take us down. It's very important to see the world this way at the moment, because there are increasing numbers of challenges that can knock you off balance, that can make you feel powerless and can make you question why you're here. Now, I know for many of you, that's a story that you're still going through. And there are several reasons for this. You know, the worldwide awakening that we've all kind of heard of for years, it doesn't always come in a lovely package. It doesn't always come that you have some incredible vision and all of the angels sing and suddenly you see that everything is peaceful and perfect. And even if you have that moment, for many of us, those awakenings, we then return to earth. We then come back down to the ground, humanity, who we are as a human being. And the trick really is, does that awakening serve what you can do for the greater good, both for your own life and for the lives of others? So this is a very interesting period of time where some of you are going through that depression, deflation, shock, horror at what you're seeing going on in the world or in your own life that is very different to where you thought you would be right now. That's a very common theme in awakening, where you reach a point where suddenly you realize, oh, I can't keep going on this path. Then there are others who are thrilled about this, and you right now will be feeling all lit up and activated as to where you're going in the future. You may not know exactly how you're going to get there, which is, part of how it works down here. We may have a vision and an intention, and we're like, oh my God, I know I want to have this really great relationship, and I'm clear that that's actually important to me as a soul, as a human. I want to have a really great relationship, and I'm going to manifest it. Then the mind gets involved and goes, well, you don't like online dating, and you tried speed dating and that didn't work. Never mind all that stuff. That's the mind. When you intend for something and when you're clear about bringing it into your life, you hold the intention, you write it down on a piece of paper, and you trust that at the right speed for you, the universe will bring that to you. Well, it's the same for many of you who are activated right now. This past few months has released a lot of creative and heart energy onto the planet. Now, these things, when alchemized, can become incredible, powerful things for others. So it may have activated in you a desire to be a parent, which is going to be an incredible journey for you and that child. It may have activated in you a desire to hold community gatherings in your local area that are going to not only be sustenance for the people who come, but you never have any idea what you're really doing for somebody. There might be something that you are doing right now, a party that you have, or a gathering that you're hosting, and you don't know how down somebody was when they came to your gathering and how much that galvanized them and lifted them and got them back on track. And that's what we're here for. We're here for a pretty almighty change at this time on the planet. And many of you will now be over the grief period. The grief period's been quite strong. I mean, for some people this has been going on for 3 or 4 years, but many of you are now at a point where you're like, oh, okay, I see that everything's different. I see why I'm here. I'm not hooked into the fear that gets pumped out as much as I used to be. I get it. I'm here for the transition. I'm here to be part of the transition. I'm here to be part of the change. Equally, be careful of getting seduced by what we think the change is. In the lightworker and spiritual communities that I've seen and worked in for the last 13 years, one of the dangers is becoming inflated. This idea that you're on a spiritual path or you're a light worker, so you're doing this grand thing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all okay to have a moment where you celebrate something you're doing, but don't get seduced into thinking that it's something bigger than what the doctor or the mother who lives down the street is doing on the planet too, because then you're just setting up a separation between you and the next person on the street who may know nothing or care nothing for spiritual ideals, but is full of heart, is full of presence, and is also here for the transition. So a lot of light workers, spiritually minded folk, empath sensitives are what I would call being galvanized and grounded right now for the coming 4 to 10 years on the planet. It's pretty exciting when you think about how much is needed down here, or it's pretty depressing when you think about how much is needed down here. And the choice is really ours. The choice is ours to go through. And there are days where, and I'm in this group too, there are days where I need to be in the depression for an hour or two, or feel the depression to burn more of it off, to get to a point where it's like, oh, actually, I'm okay, I'm alive, nothing is promised, we don't know how long we've got, we're in a very specific period in history, but there have been periods in history like this for hundreds of years, and there will be for hundreds of years to come. So don't get too seduced by the past or the future or what's changing or what isn't here, or you can really get seduced in all of that stuff and it makes you inert, powerless, and it doesn't compel you to action. So, to circle back to where I started today, heart energy is going to be big this month. There may be some impactful things for you in your heart, things that bring up grief or heartbreak or release, but there will also be incredible, wondrous periods of connection, intimacy, and you feeling very safe to be in your feelings and be alive on this planet, because that's what is birthing for so many people who perhaps that hasn't been your story for several years. Perhaps spirituality was a refuge for a while you learnt to let go of some of the human trauma. And I'm telling you, 2018 to 2024 on this planet, they're going to be on in a big way. So if you still have depression or deflation or anything that you feel you need to clear out, give yourself to it. Take it seriously. Don't just flirt with it or talk about it incessantly to your friends for a few years. Take some action around it. Are there supplements you need? Do you need to consider weekly therapy? What is it that you're going to need to help you bring yourself back to life? For the rest of you, for those of you who aren't in that space, who are in that middle space of I can feel I'm going to change my life in the next year or two, not sure what it's going to be yet, that's part of the joy of discovery. And the one thing that I've learned in life is that we just never ever know what's coming for us. And we tend to have, you know, a very quick fear mind around that. It's like, oh, well, I want to do this thing, but it's probably not going to go well. We're very quick to be afraid of what might come. And we forget to go, hell, I have no idea what's going to come for me in the next 3 or 4 months. And we really don't, no matter how intuitive, wise, or experienced you are. Life is a mystery. But what we do every single day, and what we can do, is create with the universe the way that we want to steer things and the way that we want things to be. Not from a place of control and not from a place of fear or separation, just from a place of wonder. So that word wonder links with heart energy this month. You are going to have many invitations to wonder this month. Heart energy, wonder. Special moments with people you perhaps never thought you'd have those moments with, healings with people that you thought you would never have such a healing with, but also a sense of wonder with yourself and your own ability to create. So remember, fear energy creates division and separation and retraction. Fear energy is pumped out into the world quite regularly from several sources. So you need to really monitor, how am I feeling? What am I needing? What am I doing today? When you take care of all of those things, you naturally become generous for others. I'll finish with this one thing that I heard recently. Somebody was worried about giving themselves to some rest. They were like, well, I really want to rest, but the people around me are in need, but they were really tired. And I just said to them, look, take a week. Just give yourself a week. Yes, you can't take a week off work necessarily, but in all the rest of the time, take some downtime. They did it. They came back stronger. And then a couple of weeks later, they went, wow, I've got so much energy and I feel like I'm joyously back among my friends and my family, giving to them. But they had to go through that judgment of, what about what I need and how is that going to affect everyone else? This is a common thing for sensitives, light workers. So just trust. You don't owe anybody anything, but when you look after yourself well, you will naturally want to do for others. If you aren't looking after yourself well, you can fall into resentment, judgment, anger, frustration. So if any of those emotions are bubbling up for you, the emotions aren't wrong, the situation you are in might be. So think about that. Is there anything you need to adjust in the coming month, especially as it's December, which, you know, as we all know, can be a little crazy with Christmas, consumerism, all of those things that are flying around. And, you know, really what happens at Christmas is family dynamics that perhaps have been buried for a long time get raised to the surface and people get stressed. So ask yourself, what presents can I bring to Christmas? What presents can I bring to this season? Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, I want to be as present as possible for wonder and for heart energy. So I'll be back in January with a new energy update. Thank you for tuning in. We have a brand new MP3 this month. It's called The New Human Soul, Timelines, Creation and Action. I will play a clip of that at the end of this video, so stay tuned for a moment if you want to hear that. It's channeling and sound healing, and it was recorded in my Soul Magic Retreat, Costa Rica. It's also available to all members of The Portal. The Portal is my monthly members club where we do a 90-minute Q&A healing call every month. You get to send in your questions and we get through as many as we can. You also get the MP3, a community forum, all of that's good stuff. But this year, one thing I wanted to share with you that I'm doing that I've never done before. Usually I'm traveling over Christmas or doing live events with people, but it felt very important this year to hold something called Rebirth 2018. I'm going to do 2 live broadcasts on the 28th of December and on the 3rd of January. And then in the 5 days between, I'm going to be giving those of you who want to do Rebirth with me recordings, inspirations, so that you have a 7-day journey across the new year to alchemize everything that you want to alchemize from this past year and get ready for where we're going next. So I'll be channeling, intuiting and guiding you through this transformation process. So you can check it out at the link underneath this video or go to leeharrisenergy.com. It will be on the events page. It's called Rebirth 2018. And last but not least, we've opened booking on Energy Mastery Portland in February and Energy Mastery Santa Fe in April. Can't wait to bring the Energy Mastery experience to you guys. And if you happen to be in Burbank on December the 30th, I will be alongside 8 other channelers, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 9 channelers back to back. It's gonna blow many circuits. That's all I'll say about it. That's in Burbank, also at my events page. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Here's the clip of the new human soul. Lots of love to you and see you in 2018. Bye-bye. Your soul goes beyond human ideas, for human ideas are based on the past more than future possibility. And for many of you, you are here to help lighten the load of that ancestry. And there is, more than ever before, a growing collective focus on this. You are learning how to be masters of this time and masters of the creations that are needed now. Your role as human is to be human and to let the spirit and the light come through you as much as you possibly can. And yet, this also means you let the core of humanity and all of its collective ideals, failures, tragedies, joys, areas of greatness, areas of weakness, run through your own system, because you are a product of ancient history. You are never here alone. You are part of a grid of energy, and we do not just mean humanity here. You are part of universal energy. You were never here alone. You were never on your own. You are never here alone, no. The path is always shown. The path is always shown.